So, Mr. Burke, can we do my wife's stuff first so she can go home and make me my dinner?
Only if she's going to make me dinner, too. Are we all set? All right. Welcome to the September 6, 2017 Board of Selectmen's meeting. If you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's she making? Steak. Oh. All right.
I think we're still a little too, maybe that's okay, huh?
What's that?
I thought it might be too loud, but I think that's okay.
I think we're good, yeah. All right, so citizen statements and petitions. Seeing none. Correspondence to the board. No correspondence to the
No
board.
nasty grams this week?
Right. So I'm going to take the agenda out of order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push executive session to the end of the meeting. That way we can push the meeting forward. And then I don't have to kick people out just to invite them back. So number 5, consider the placement of a stop sign at Pleasant Street and Park Streets.
Okay, so shall we do our normal, make the motion and discuss?
Sure.
All right, I move to approve placement of a stop sign at the intersection of Pleasant and Park Streets.
I'll step down in a second. All right, discussion.
Don't we need the chief for this?
We don't need the chief. I spoke to the chief today about this. It looks like we have a citizen that would like to come up and give us an overview of a position. Why don't you come on right up here and sit right up here? And if you could just give us your name and your address, please.
So my name is Jim Patrick, and I live at 85 Park Street.
Okay.
And I'm the one that reached out to Alan to see if what the possibilities were to put a stop sign at the intersection of Pleasant and Park Street.
Okay.
Over the past few years, the traffic in that area has really taken off. And it's become, and I've chosen these words carefully and intentionally, it's become the test track. So anybody that's going to buy a new car, they go down Millville Street, they go up Pleasant Street, and they come up Park Street.
Okay.
Anybody that's having a car repaired that's got to be taken for a test drive, Millville Street to Pleasant Street to Park Street. So it's getting a lot more traffic than it used to
Are
get.
you stopping these people and you're asking them if that's why they're driving there?
No, but I know what the dealer plate is.
Should we be
I'm
putting
just
a,
teasing you.
put a toll
No, that's
booth?
okay.
Put a toll booth
That's
up?
okay. But, you know, it's always been a cut through from the Woonsocket, Blackstone, Millville area through to get to Uxbridge. And there's always been, you know, normal traffic.
That's
but
the way
that-
I go to Uxbridge.
Yeah, that intersection has just become very much more dangerous. We come up from our 85 Park Street, leaving the home, and heading up Park Street to go out to 16, and at least once a week, sometimes more frequently than that, the cars are just blowing through that stop sign, whether they're continuing up Park Street back to 16, going around the loop, or headed to Uxbridge.
So sorry, which stop sign are you talking about?
At the intersection of Pleasant Street and Park Street, right? So Pleasant comes...
I thought you just said they're just blowing through that stop sign.
No, I did say that, and I'll correct that. That was a...
Just
I
going
misspoke.
right into the
I
intersection is
misspoke.
what you're
There is
saying.
no
Blowing through the
sign there.
intersection.
Blowing through the intersection, right.
Okay.
And they just blow right through there, and it's just become dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of neighbors that walk in that area, and it's just, you know, it's become more dangerous over time. I think some kind of a signal to stop at that intersection would make sense. I know it's a difficult intersection because it's so wide, and, you know, it's just, you know, if you put a stop sign way over to the side, maybe you won't even see it. But I believe something's got to be done. I also spoke with the chief today. He called me. I was pretty pleased about that. I wasn't expecting that call, but we had a good conversation. He understands my concerns, and I just wanted to come and share them with the group and see what can be done about it.
Thank you. Alan, do you want to come up and join us?
While he comes up, you said your name was Jim, right?
Yep, yep.
So I don't know if you watched the broadcast from the last meeting, but it's not like we have necessarily an objection or anything, but it seemed like there was some concern about placing it there. We didn't quite know what problem we were solving. The chief had reported that we really haven't had any accidents there, so we just wanted to hear directly from the person
Sure.
that was raising the issue, kind of what their concerns were, so we could figure out what the right thing to do was.
Right, right. Alan and I spoke after the last meeting, and he asked if I would be willing to come in and share my tale of woe, and I'm happy to do that.
Sure. And I actually wasn't at the last meeting, so, this is a good update for me as well. Alan, what's your opinion of that being a highway surveyor?
Well, again, it is a difficult intersection, and as we spoke the last time when the chief was in here, I think we were both in the agreement that we should stop both sides of Park Street, because it's straight there on both of them. You can clearly see where the stop signs would be. It's more visible there. If you put it on Pleasant Street, by the time you put a stop sign there, they're gonna be all the way through the intersection before it does any good.
And they have to naturally slow down at least somewhat, whether they go left or right, because you
Yeah.
can't see.
Right.
So I did speak with the chief today, and
What
just
did he say?
to get his opinion. And what he had said, similar to you, is that the intersection is pretty wide. I know it very well. The intersection is pretty wide. He felt that stop signs most likely would be difficult. He had suggested doing yield signs. He felt that if we were to put yield signs there, there's enough line of sight that if traffic was slowing down, that should be able to solve the problem, in his opinion. I had asked him about the amount of accidents that we've had in that intersection. He says it's not a very active intersection down there. From
an accident standpoint.
From the accident standpoint, knock on wood. And he felt that it had good lines of sight from his perspective. He felt that yield signs would help slow traffic down and not do the racetrack, as you were mentioning, so.
I'm not here to say, I gotta have this,
Right.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm here for. I want to make sure that my family and I
Let's see.
aren't in any jeopardy driving up the street there, right?
Yeah.
But I will say with respect that if any of you have ever gotten onto 495 or off of 495, you know how much yield signs work, right? They don't work. But, again, that's one man's opinion. Certainly the chief of police has a lot more experience in that area than I do.
Yeah.
And Alan as well, so, I'll be happy with what the board recommends.
Sure.
I just want to make sure the family
You
and
could
the
argue-
neighbors are safe.
You could argue that stop signs don't work too. I mean, sometimes. In a spot like that, they might not.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that was the chief's concern, to be honest with you, because it's so wide and where do you place them? And,
Yep.
and then we would have to defer to the highway surveyor on how you would mark the roads and how you would maintain the signs. I guess that's what I was getting from Dave today, so.
What is the speed limit on that stretch of road right now? I think, did we have this conversation didn't we have this conversation last time?
Is it
25 or is it
posted now?
30?
It's thickly settled.
I think it's 30.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly.
I believe thickly settled is 25.
Okay, whatever it is,
Wrong.
it's more than 20. Right?
Yeah.
And we have the right, after having been granted the capability by town meeting, to designate certain areas as 20-mile areas. So to me, I just wonder if that's not a better solution, or maybe an addition, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just one of those interesting intersections in town.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I stand with it, to be honest with you. I think yield signs could solve the problem, because it's a natural flow for folks coming down to turn on the park from Park, right? So you just staying on Park, it's a natural flow to go. to the
I would
right.
say a natural flow coming down
Down
Pleasant
the
to Park to go to the left
Yeah.
would be more natural than to go to the right.
Yes.
Just because that's a tight corner there and you're immediately going up a hill, that, the visibility isn't real good there.
Yeah,
But, it's
What do we hurt?
it's concerning,
See, this is why I wish the chief were here, right? Because what do we hurt by putting a stop sign? I mean, a stop sign does what a yield sign does, plus, if people obey.
yeah, yeah.
So what, are we causing a problem that we're not aware of by misplacing a stop sign? Is that something that?
Well, that's the question that I have, and that's why I'd have to rely on our highway surveyor and our chief, to make that determination. I can't answer that question. I'm not an expert in.
Okay. What I'd like to recommend, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend that now that we've heard from the resident, and thank you very much for coming in, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that, because now I understand exactly where you're coming from and what the possible solutions might look like. I would like to recommend that we table it for the next meeting when Mark can be here, and I really want to have the chief here.
Yeah.
To finalize it.
Yeah, I think that's fine, and then we can just do a little bit more research on the side now that I have a much better perspective.
Is that okay?
I'm fine, I have a question. And I know that in some areas there are, you see those strips going across the road to count the traffic or whatever, right? Do you ever do things like maybe you put a video camera up to watch an intersection for a period of time to see, what's the activity there?
I don't think we have that.
But to get one of your hunting cameras down there.
Well, I did have a hunting camera on Pleasant Street trying to catch somebody littering. And
I need one of those.
there were over 300 cars a day on Pleasant Street,
Wow.
believe it or not.
Yeah,
That's how I would have thought,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
And I'll tell you, the guys that are test driving the Mustangs and Camaros and Corvettes, they're not interested in slowing down at the bottom of that hill.
Sounds like we need to talk to the chief about that.
Yeah, exactly. So-
Okay, I agree. So what we'll do is we'll table it to next meeting, Laura, all right? And we'll be looking for a more formal conversation with you, Alan, and the chief, and we'll make a decision at the next meeting on that. All right?
Thank you, I really appreciate you guys addressing this.
All right, fantastic.
No,
Thanks for coming in.
Yep. Good,
All right.
Great.
thank you, Alan.
All righty. All right, so consider appointment of Kerry Janis of Murphy, Hesse, and Toomey in Lehane LLP as town council.
Mr. Chairman, before you continue on, just a point of order. Do I have to withdraw the motion now that we
No, we'll just keep it open.
just leave it open?
Just leave it open.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay. All righty, so take a motion.
Okay, sorry, which one are we on now?
6.
Okay, I move to appoint Kerry Janess, I hope I'm pronouncing that right?
I think I...
Murphy Hess, is it Hesse or Hess? I don't even know. Murphy Hess Toomey Lehane LLP as town council.
Step down second. All right, so this is to replace our prior town council, Brandon Moss, who is moved on to New Horizons, and this is his replacement. I don't think there's any further discussion on this, is it?
I have none.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, okay.
So are you filling this out or you take?
I got it. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, number 7, consider the appointment of Allison Chu to the Cultural Council.
I move to appoint Allison Chu to the Cultural Council for a term to expire June 30th, 2018.
Step down in second.
I don't know Allison, but I believe that's a reappointment, isn't it?
No, this is a new
Are
appointment.
you
actually.
Allison? Oh, you want to come
Oh,
forward?
come on up.
Yeah, come talk to us.
We don't bite.
Speak for yourself.
I was just about to say, at least I don't.
got you
not-
interested in this, Allison?
I previously lived in Hopedale, and I was on their cultural council when we were Hopedale residents. We've been in Mendon for 13 years, and looking for an opportunity to help the town in a small way. Received an email just stating that there weren't enough members on the council to receive funding from the state, so just seemed like a perfect opportunity to step up and participate.
Great.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I also saw an email from Joyce Firth, who is the chair,
Yep.
and
She supports?
she seemed excited about having Allison come aboard.
Okay.
So, I don't think there's any further discussion on my end.
No? Any questions for us before we vote?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for willing to step up. Okay. Let's see, consider appointment of Emilio Perez for the Conservation Commission.
I move to appoint Emilio Perez to the Conservation Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2019.
Okay, is Emilio here? Oh, you want to come up? Is there anybody from the Conservation Commission here?
No.
No.
Did they provide us with a recommendation, Laura?
We got something from Bill McHenry, who sent Emilio's, letter to us. And that you had attended a Concom meeting, correct? Yes.
Is he on the Concom?
Bill is, yeah.
Bill's on the Concom?
Yes. Right, Bill's on the Concom.
He's their admin.
He's
He
there,
worked-
right, their
he-
admin,
He's not
correct.
a resident of town, so he's not on
I guess the
actually
only reason I'm
Concom.
asking is because I thought we had a process where we want the particular committee to provide a recommendation along with the,
Yeah, that's correct. So this opens up a much larger conversation about process. We're going to start implementing a new process, or it's been requested that we implement a new process where ultimately it's up to the selectmen to appoint these positions. However, we weigh heavily on the recommendation of the committees, and the process that was put in front of us, Mr. Schofield, I'm not sure if you saw it from Kimberly,
I did, yeah.
was a recommendation that we would do it in a open session, and we would have a representative or representatives from the various committees, as well as the candidate, and then we would do it all in one forum. However, we're talking about Conservation Commission here. You know, I'd love to hear from you, and we're going to hear from you, Amelia, just kind of working through the process right now. I'd love to hear from the Conservation Commission on this as well, and be able to do a further vetting on this. I'm not sure if you agree or not on that. What's your opinion?
Well, I wish we'd have just gotten a
Oh,
recommendation. But
letter
you said you did meet with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So why don't you tell us about yourself?
So I'm kind of new to Mendon. I've only been living here for 5 years. It was my first home purchase. Being a younger guy, kind of interested in the political process of the town. I spoke to a couple residents about maybe getting involved. Geez, I forget his name now. Sorry, his name escapes me. I had a
Somebody
neighbor.
on the Conservation Commission already?
No, so he was the assessor, and I can't forget which role he's in.
Ken O'Brien?
Excuse me?
Was it Ken O'Brien?
No, it's not.
Kevin Rudden?
Kevin, it is Kevin. So Kevin's my neighbor. He kind of told me that we could use some new faces around here and encouraged him to join. I spoke with Annie through activities through work. I've been involved in a Make America Beautiful Clean Up Mansfield initiative for quite a few years now. And I was interested in getting something started in this area, something similar to kind of pick up all the trash that we see floating around the sides of the streets. And that led me through the Blackstone chapter to Annie, and Annie suggested I reach out to the group because there was an opening and express my
Were you
interest.
referencing Annie?
Ann. Ann Mazar.
Okay, that explains, okay, so you've liaised with her, so that explains everything I need to know.
Good or bad?
Okay.
All right.
Were there any other considerations for for this position? Do you know?
I have not received any.
You have not received any?
No.
And
How many empty spots do we have? I think we might have 2.
I do not know. Let me see if I have anything. Hold on one second.
No stress. Well, look, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, real quick.
I was just gonna say, I'm okay to vote on it, but going forward, though, I think we gotta tighten up that process.
Okay. Ann?
Definitely.
I was just gonna say that I got in touch with Emilio because of the town cleanup, and he said he wanted to volunteer, and there's nothing on the land use committee or the community preservation committee that's open. So I said there's an opening on the conservation commission that seemed to fit his environmental interest.
Sure.
And so that's our conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay,
Excuse me, Rich, I see one vacant.
Just one?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm ready to make the appointment tonight. I
your
think
decision,
that,
Mr. Chairman.
I think what I'd like to do is talk to the Conservation Commission in respect to them. I think that, you know, they should have a say in any appointment. I'm very excited, Emilio, that you're willing to step up, and I'm thrilled, and there's a ton to do in our town. So, you know, if it doesn't work out for conservation, there could be 100 other things that we can have you do. So please don't give up on it if you're not appointed. I'm not saying you're not going to be, I just want to be able to hear from the conservation, and I also want to be able to tighten up our process. It's something that we really need to talk through as a board.
My guess is that'll be just crossing the Ts and dotting the Is, because we would have heard from conservation if they weren't happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And you said you did already interview with them.
Yeah, I attended. They said there was one other interested party, but they hadn't heard any contact back, and that was that. They said, make
Okay.
sure you highlight your relevant experience. And
So,
I work in a medical device manufacturing facility in Mansfield, so that gives me a background in reading mechanical prints. In high school, I took a couple courses on. It was a program that we were running, so I have a little bit of familiar with architectural. Not much experience reading topographical maps, but I'm sure I could put all those together.
okay. All right, so Laura, do me a favor, can you just reach out to Conservation and tell them that we're going to be looking for a recommendation from them?
I've already sent it to them. I hadn't heard back. So
Okay,
I'll
perfect.
resend it again. so
All right,
we've
great,
spoken
thank you.
about it.
And, you know, it'll be short order when we make a decision, okay?
I completely respect where you want to go with it. I just want to make sure that, I hate throwing extra hurdles in front of people who want to volunteer. right?
Oh, I know.
So let's-
Don't give
let's
up,
make
please.
sure that all the work's on our-
Please, don't
all the
give up.
work's on our side, right? So
Oh, yeah.
we'll get back to you as quick as possible, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so number 9, consider the reappointment of Heather Alcock to the Finance Committee.
That's a reappointment.
Yeah, so that's a reappointment, so I'll take a motion. Rich?
Yes, I make a motion to reappoint Heather Alcock to the Finance Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2020.
All right, step down second. I think this is a no-brainer. So, any discussion on this?
Nope, I'm the one who poached her, so I think I'm good with it.
All right, cool. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, so consider the Local Historic District Commission request to solicit members for the Local Historic District Commission.
Oh, that's a big no for me.
Take a motion?
All right. I move to approve the Local Historic District Commission to solicit members for the Local Historic District Commission.
I'll step down in second.
Yeah, I need a little explanation as to actually what that means.
Yeah, I do too. It's a tongue twister, there's no doubt about that. I think there's a zoning bylaw, right? That we have to solicit members.
Yeah, this is,
Mr. Goddard, it's oh so nice to see you.
how are you, sir?
And Ms. Schofield, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, so we figured we'd tag team you both and say, hey, we gotta get the district commission established. So the bylaw was passed, approved at town meeting. Attorney General has approved everything, everything's back. We're in the process of filing the maps with Registry of Deeds in Worcester. That makes it all official. What we wanted to do is make sure that that the handoff is firm. So the action is now, really?
Yeah, I am.
Wow.
Honest to God, yeah.
So the action is, yeah, maybe I should, for the Board of Selectmen now to appoint members to the District Commission, which provides the oversight to the district. So we wanted to make sure that that was formally handed off to the board and to start soliciting. My understanding is some residents have already expressed interest, which is great. I think residents are generally, within the district, are hard to come by, so I think there's some folks there that
Some
have,
people from within wanted.
in the district, right, that's recommended. I believe you've probably met an architect who is representing the Historic Commission on the Police Building Committee. That gentleman's also expressed interest, so you've got
Well, he
that
hasn't been
covered as
appointed
well.
yet, but yes.
Right. So he's, and in fact, I think you got a letter from me asking that he be appointed to represent the commission because we feel that gentleman, although not on the commission, probably has much more to say about what's historical from an architectural sense than I do. So we figure
Fantastic.
he's probably a good choice.
So, if I remember right, this group would consider, because I think we were establishing a fund, right? There was one thing we did, right?
Yeah.
And they would
So this probably,
distribute that as well as deal with any issues as to whether people can or can't do things in the
yeah, and not even issues. I mean, there is an operational function to this committee where people need to approach this committee first, even before maybe the building department, to present proposals as to what they want to either renovate, demolish, et cetera. So this board reviews those things, so it's really the operational aspect of the historic district.
So
And then-
basically, by approving this motion, we're giving you the authorization to solicit members.
You're not giving me the authorization. I would expect the board should probably be soliciting membership through the normal means of any other committee or...
Oh, okay, I understand. I
Right.
wasn't sure if it was...
What this really is, this is the Historic District Study Committee, of which I was chair,
Yep.
formally handing everything over to the Board of Selectmen because the study committee's work is done.
denied.
Stay away from my gavel.
No, but
You just two of them, I'll see it.
in a nutshell, that's really what it is. We want to make sure that you weren't expecting us to do something, because basically that whole study committee has now joined the Historic Commission. You've appointed everybody to the new commission, so...
I look forward to seeing you, chair that
We have
one
another
as well.
member of the Historic Commission who has volunteered to serve on this committee, so we met last night.
Okay.
So, and we are soliciting the Historic Society for membership as well. That would be another group that should be participating.
Do you have a tick?
Yes, yes. I don't think you'll be serving. I think we asked you to see if the society vote on appointing somebody to the
Yeah.
district committee.
All right, cool.
So,
All right.
Just out of curiosity, so how many members on this
5 to 7.
5 and 7.
5 to
And
7?
the idea is to solicit a realtor, somebody from a realtor board, as well as an architect. We think you have the architect covered. And if you don't have anyone with the proper background volunteering, then the selectmen have the authority to choose whoever you want.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, any further discussion?
I think we might also want to look into, you might also want to look into a lawyer. If there's anybody interested with a law background, would be a good choice for the committee as well, so.
Too bad Mr. Macaro didn't live in town. So there's the plug for any attorneys who are living in the community that want to be part of the Historic Commission. We'd love to have you. So thank you.
I think they could
Ms.
work to
Schofield.
waive it, but I would say
Yeah.
standing town bylaw is you need to be a resident to be part of these committees, correct?
I would assume it's the
yeah.
same as any other committee, yeah.
Right. But the board would have the opportunity to probably waive that if they needed to, I would
Okay.
think.
All right.
I did research that before, and we could not do it. Well, maybe it's board dependent, I don't know.
We'll have to research that, but that's good points.
Yeah, I think there's more information in the local historic district brochure that was published by Mass Historic Commission, that there actually is some flexibility in selecting people for that particular commission that allows you to bring in people from outside.
Okay. Well, I will keep my optimism up that we have thousands of volunteers just rushing to help out, and a couple of attorneys.
You got a
have
good
done
head
this.
start, let's put it that way.
So let's give it a shot, and then if we find our backs up against a wall, then we can research possibly, going out
Right.
a little bit further. Okay?
Do we have a time frame?
All right. Any further discussion on this?
It sounds like a relatively fun and low drama kind of a committee or commission. It could be quite enjoyable for somebody, so.
Yeah, no, I think it would be.
Okay.
And I think the commission has actually some business coming before it in the next 30 to 60 days, based on my understanding. So I'd recommend if something were to happen before the committee's established, that the board and possibly the Historic Commission at least play the role of reviewing the request for alterations within the district,
Oh, sure, yeah, because we don't have anything established at
Right.
the point. Gotcha.
unless you close on it really fast.
Yeah.
Then you would have something established. Just saying.
There you go. All right, any further discussion?
Okay, so we don't, but we wouldn't have an official is it a commission?
Historic Commission.
We wouldn't have an official one until we had at least 5 members, right? So
You wouldn't have the body that provides the oversight till you have 5 members.
Okay, so
right?
anything shy of 5 members, then we would have to do
We would have to
that
act.
interim solution that you recommended. in the-
Yeah, I'm not even sure that's the case. I know the previous town council sort of just said that I don't think it's really covered, but the bylaw is passed, the Attorney General's approved it, the registry's going to file the map, so the commission will be established, therefore,
I gotcha.
sort of a operational thing.
So I think what we'll do with this is, if we get to that point where we don't have a commission fully staffed, we'll have to solicit opinion from council at that point on what we need to do in order to move forward.
See what happens.
But let's give it a shot. I'm hoping that, folks are willing to step up. 5 people is not a lot of people, but it's still hard to fill these committees. So I'd say anybody who's out there listening and is willing to step up,
You might have 5 already.
I might have.
Well, no, I mean, between JP, the resident that I'm aware of, Historic Commission, Board of Selectmen need to serve, one additional person who probably is the Historic Society.
I have one
You might have
individual
5.
who might be interested.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're pretty close
Who's
to
a
it.
builder. He's a
I'm
builder.
sorry, did I hear you just say that one of the members needs to be a board of selectmen? On this local store?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Mark isn't here tonight. We'll make sure we.
Yeah, I would appoint, I'd fill that seat now.
I would be happy to do that.
Okay. All right.
So if the other 2 of you guys are happy with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Close.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Can I recommend, Mr. Chairman, just to keep the momentum going on this topic, that we skip right to the unmarked, which should be number 15, that says to consider Mr. Bucchino for that exact same commission?
yeah, but isn't, bear with me for 1 second, because I thought that, JP,
Yes.
He's on 2 other ones.
yeah, but he
Oh,
has,
he is too?
yes.
Yeah.
Don't be taken away from my thunder.
And is JP here?
Uh,
Oh, there we go.
I'll take a motion on number 11.
Okay, yes, sir. I move to appoint J.P. Parnas. Did I pronounce that right, sir?
You did, there's an R missing, I think, in there, but you got it correct.
Okay.
Parnas, I think I pronounced it correct. Parnas, to the local historic district commission as the architect member for a term to expire June 30th, 2020.
Step down a second. All right, discussion. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm very new to Mendon. I just moved last June. I was living in Natick before that for 24, 23 years, and was part of the Natick Historic District Commission there for 10 to 12 years.
Oh, wow.
I've been an architect.
Same type of committee doing the same stuff?
Precisely the same thing.
Excellent.
Oh,
Okay,
fantastic.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've been an architect for, 25 years, I guess, and about 80 to 90% of that has been public work, so public bid work. So
Oh, fantastic.
A lot of and residential work. So
Excellent. Great.
projects.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion on this appointment?
I presume that you 2 folks have talked to JP in the past?
No.
JP has been kind enough to meet with us and with the Historic Commission for a couple meetings now, so, yeah,
And you 2 would recommend him?
absolutely.
Great.
Okay. And, all right, any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, and so I will jump right down to item 14, which is other topics not reasonably anticipated in 40 hours. Looks like we have a consideration for another appointment. So why don't you,
All right, so I move to appoint Mark Dacino to the local Historic District Commission as the local Historic District residential member for a term to expire June 30th, 2020.
step down in second.
I'd like to know a little bit about this guy. I don't.
You would. What would you like to know?
So start the questioning then.
No, I have no questions. I think this is fantastic. I was excited. I didn't realize you didn't tell me that he put his hand up, but I think that's great. I know you have you took part in the historic district plaque program. You put plaques up and everything. Yeah. So I'm very excited about this. So it means we got 2 people already. Actually 3 if I'm the selectman.
That's
position.
right.
So you only need 2 more.
Four if you'd like to take a verbal recommendation from the Historic Commission. So we nominated Janice Muldoon Ward to represent the Historic Commission on the District
She's willing.
Commission, and she's willing. We met last night, so if you want to add another body, you could take that as,
We'll get a letter and whatever. All right, so.
you're going to make me
And
write a
you're
letter.
excited about jumping on, huh? All right, fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Any further discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So Janice, did she submit a letter of interest?
Well, you just appointed her to the Historic Commission, and she had served on the study committee. We had our meeting last night
Yeah.
to nominate somebody because we knew we were meeting with you tonight. So verbally, she agreed. We nominated her. She's ready to go.
So probably the quickest route to getting it done is just if she could submit the letter of interest to you guys and forward it along with your recommendation, then we have both pieces we need to get it on the next,
We'll get it right on the next
Get it
agenda
right
and we'll
on
be
there.
all set. How's that?
and we'll just be -1.
That would be great. I got to write a letter now.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Well, actually, no, the letter really should be coming from her. Of her,
No,
right?
I'm suggesting that she send them a letter of interest
Yep.
and then forward it
And then you
to
can
us
forward us.
with their
With our
recommendation.
recommendation in writing, as opposed to verbally.
Oh, no, I don't need your record, just send me the
No,
letter.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Janice has to write a letter.
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much. So, while you guys are, real quick, we'll do a quick update on the commission's focus for the current year. You promised me that you'd be quick on that, right?
Yep.
All right.
On this?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll leave this with you, but
Okay.
because I know we're sort of bumping the executive session, but it actually ties back to what you were just talking about in terms of the Concom, in terms of the process you're putting in place, since you are taking a very active role in appointing members and have some responsibility in terms of the committees you're appointing. We thought we'd put together sort of an outline of some of the things that the Historic Commission's looking at doing this year. So it's really just to give you a sense of what we're focused on and talk a little bit about where we might look for your assistance.
Okay.
So,
You're gonna give me paper.
I'm giving you paper.
My name is Amanda Leah.
I do not,
Thank you.
I'm never sure who wants what, when,
How?
and how. Exactly. So, real quick, from our standpoint, one of the things that we're trying to do is shift sort of from a commission that is actually doing a lot of the work, the project planning, et cetera, to trying to more integrate ourselves into other committees and boards within the town to ensure that really historic priorities are considered. So if you think about this first item around driving the support and preservation of Mendon history, we're coordinating, collaborating with Historic Society, focused on really digitizing what documents, photos, et cetera, and really trying to figure out a better way to, leverage technology to distribute information and make it available to the town. And we can come back and talk more about what that looks like as we get going on it more. The second item is actually spread out from really 2 things. One, our work with the demolition bylaw, which As you know, if somebody's going to demolish something, then there's a bylaw which they need to come to the Historic Commission. It's generally the last step in the process, and to some extent, it really doesn't do anything but delay. So what we're trying to do is sort of take a more proactive approach there. We're working to identify what we consider key residences in the town, pull information together, make it available to homeowners, so make sure people understand, what they have when they're living in these structures.
And get that in the hands of the building department too, I would
In the
think.
building, yeah, it'll be available online for sure, but the idea is to more proactively engage residents so they understand what they have and, what it means, and give them something to consider before somebody turns around and decides that it's time to get rid of the structure.
Gotcha.
I like that, being
Yeah.
proactive rather than reactive on that.
Yeah, and then the last item is probably where I think we'd probably want to partner with not only this board but other commissions, and that is, like I said, get some of the historic priorities integrated into some of the work that's going on, whether it's master plan. Specifically for the Board of Selectmen, there's been some talk about putting a building plan together about town use of buildings, things like that. As that goes forward, we want to participate so that we can make sure that if renovations are done, things are done, that we kind of have that perspective of what should change, what should not change, and why as part of that plan. So we wouldn't be building the plan. We want to participate in the process that Kim might be putting in place. We want to do that with the planning board and other committees so that we kind of have a historic perspective, a voice in some of these discussions that are going on. So
Great. Excellent.
now you know what we're doing at a very high level. With that, if you have any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can let you move along with your business.
Excellent. Thank you so much, and
just-
thanks for all your hard
I'd
work.
just like to make one more comment, if you wouldn't mind.
No,
Mr.
go ahead.
And I'm sure you'll back me on this, but I just wanted to say that, Mike, you obviously spent, a couple terms being selectman, and then instead of just you saying I did my time and off you go, you continue to be involved, and I know I personally appreciate that very much, so thank you for all your work.
It's my pleasure. Kathy wrote me into it. So.
Yeah.
Did
She's
you
good
see
like
him?
that.
It's good. Yeah.
Mike, did you see him casting the bait?
Yeah. I'm dodging.
Yeah, no, seriously, thank you very much. It's, I know it's been a lot of work, and tremendous amount of work, and it's beneficial to the community, so awesome.
But more comes along here, we'll want to bring it in front of you and let you know where we're going, how we're progressing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right, so we have one more piece
Back
of
to JP
business.
again,
Yeah, back to JP.
JP,
All
come
right,
on
come
back
on.
up.
All right, I'll take a motion.
Okay, I move to appoint J.P. Parnas to the Police Station Building Committee for term to expire whenever the job's done.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Step down in second. All right, discussion on this.
Well, I think we kind of learned what we needed to know from the previous interaction. Just
Awesome.
curious from an architectural perspective, and that's the skill set you have, right?
Yep.
Is there any particular discipline or type of architecture that you practice, or?
Well, I mistakenly mentioned earlier, and it's more pertinent now, is that most of my work has been publicly bid projects.
Yeah.
No kidding, huh?
I've done a lot of public schools, I've done a lot of municipal buildings, and I've done some police stations as well, so.
Okay.
Now, have you met with the police station building committee at all?
I have,
Yeah, okay, so Don Moore and Joe Cronin, all those guys have met you, et cetera, et cetera.
yes.
Fantastic. And we received a letter of resignation from Ms. Schofield for the Police Station Building Committee. We made it a point that we wanted somebody from the Historic Commission to be part of that.
Yeah.
So you would be replacing Kathy's position.
Yeah.
Correct.
Fantastic. It's
We knew that
exciting.
was gonna be a short-term thing.
Exactly. Yeah, so, and thank you, Kathy, for stepping up in the interim. So I don't think there's much more discussion
No.
on this, right?
Other than a big thank you.
Yeah, big thank you. Yeah. All in favor?
All right,
Aye. All right.
all right.
Welcome, and thank you.
Yeah.
Look forward to working with you. All right. Okay, so I think
Is that
that's,
all our public
I
business?
think that's all of our public business, so we're going to enter into executive session. So I move to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, for purpose 2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Men and Highway Department Union 272 AFL-CIO will be presenting a grievance.
we'll reconvene only to adjourn.
We will reconvene only to adjourn. So roll call is
Second.
needed. Thank you. Step down, that's you, actually.